Here we are at Pirianda Garden. It's a wonderful garden set in the Dandenong Ranges just outside of Olinda. The entrance is situated off Hackett's Road, and that's just around the corner from Gentiana Nursery. There are many ornamental trees in the garden, and if you arrive in spring, as soon as you drive in the driveway, you're going to see Cornus Eddie's White Wonder. The garden's set high on a hillside with views right across the Dandenong Ranges over to Western Port Bay. In the early 1890s, the area that is now the gardens was an orchard. In the early 1900s, it was used for sheep and cattle, and at this time, the first plantings of ornamental trees was carried out by Thomas Crook. After this, the property was used for horse adgistment and then for growing vegetable crops. It was in 1959 that the Ansells purchased the property and Pirianda Garden, as it is now, came to life. Plants were imported and the gardens took shape. The Ansells donated the garden to the state of Victoria in 1977, and it is now under the management of Parks Victoria. There's a map at the top that shows you where all the paths and tracks are. The paths at the top of the garden are paved, those further down aren't paved. From the moment you walk in, you're going to see a large range of specimen trees. Pinus contorta, the shore beach pine, Dipleta floribunda from China. This is Photinia Bouvourdiana, and this is another species from China. And this garden's not all about trees. There are smaller shrubs and other plants as well. Plants such as clivias, an interesting selection of rhododendrons, the amazing trunk of Arbutus and andrachnee, and this is called the Grecian strawberry tree. You'll find deciduous magnolias as well. As we work our way down to the halfway point of the garden, you can catch glimpses of the original house. And this was built by the Ansells, famous for making rubber gloves. The house is now used as a conference centre. And this is where we begin to encounter the stone walls, which are a feature of the lower part of the garden. The dry stone walls were built by Les Rawlings in the 60s through to the 80s. And as you walk through the Fern Gullies amongst a collection of camellias and rhododendrons, you'll appreciate the amount of work that has gone into this area. Surrounding the house is an interesting rock garden. Lots of small conifers, ground cover plants and a range of flowering bulbs. You could choose to come to see Pirianda Gardens for one tree alone, and we believe that this is it. It's Davidia involucrata, and it's commonly called the dove tree and sometimes called the pocket handkerchief tree. This is an absolutely fascinating tree. This is a large specimen. They're as rare as hen's teeth, but they are absolutely beautiful in spring. And when you turn around from the dove tree, you're faced with Syringia persica, which is the Persian lilac. As we go further down into the gardens, the paths become a little more narrow. There are more rock walls, but there are still some amazing plants in here if you come at the right time of the year. These may not look like much at the moment. They seem to be foliage plants, but they're actually Lilium giganteum. And we suggest you do a bit of research on those, because once you've seen them, you'll realise that the world is full of wonderful plants. The lower part of the garden is crisscrossed with tracks, and these will lead you through the botanical wonderland that is Pirianda Garden. This is Magnolia hypolampra. It's from Japan, and you're not going to see too many examples of this large-leaf magnolia anywhere in the world. As you reach the lower reaches of the garden, you'll find the tree fern gullies. Very different landscape to the top part of the garden. And no hills garden is complete without hydrangeas. But if you're looking for hydrangeas, then you'd probably want to go and visit the Tyndall Gardens. But that's another story and another video. In this series, we also look at the Tyndall Memorial Gardens, the Alfred Nicholas Gardens, the National Rhododendron Garden at Olinda, the Ferny Creek Ornamental Gardens, and the Kawara Gardens at Kalorama. So if you're looking for ideas on gardens to visit throughout Australia, subscribe to the YouTube channel for regular updates on gardens from across the country.